Hey guys, what is going on? Joel here, and I am back with a new video today. Truth be told, I did not think that I was going to have time today to put out a new video, but as luck would have it, I actually do. Like I've said before, usually my wife goes shopping with her grandmother on Wednesdays. She did not do that today. She's been on overtime all week, so instead she finished up work about an hour ago and she went and hit the gym. So I won't be expecting her till sometime around 5:30. So, that being said, I've done a lot more, as of lately, more simplistic unboxings as far as, I don't want to use basic games, but I mean, I have a lot of popular titles in my library, and I've got a lot of, just ones that weren't popular, but ones that were just, indicative of my childhood growing up with gaming. So every so often, I do like to break out one that I would, to me at least, I consider to be, I guess, kind of a, quote-unquote, heavy hitter. And I decided, you know what, hey, I'm going to go ahead and I'll go with the Mario Brothers Arcade Classic to unbox, because ironically enough, it was 30 years ago, this year, 1980, it was 1989, I first played this actual, not this copy, but this game. And it was all kind of by happenstance. Now, I'm going to go off into a little bit of a tangent here. Like I've said before in regards to my channel and when I rebranded myself with back in the day, I'm a very nostalgic person. I love to reminisce and think about the good old days, so to say. And it's a characteristic that I actually kind of got from my mom. My mom was very much the same way. She could pick anything out in the house and tell you when she got it and where she was when she got it, and what she was doing when she got it. And it was something that drove me nuts while she was alive. But now that she's gone, it's something I very much miss. But I hate to admit it, but I'm very much the same way. So for me, a lot of these games, and when I kind of started talking about it being 30 years ago, these games for me have a story. Now, whether or not you guys are interested in the story that goes along with it, I don't know. Maybe you are, maybe you're not. Maybe you're just here for the unboxing to see the contents inside. But the whole thing with back in the day was just the very nostalgic aspect that goes along with this. And it's a way for me to kind of relive my childhood and tell stories of my childhood growing up. So, it goes hand in hand with the game. And for me, about 90 to 95% of the games that I have all have a story. Some of them ones I just picked up. Other ones are, ones that I remember from my childhood, and there's a story that goes with them. So I love to share those stories. But for me, the story kind of behind this was, I knew in 1989, I knew I was getting a Nintendo that Christmas. That was no secret. But my mom had a friend, a woman by the name of Dawn Cannongator. And Dawn's husband was in the Army, and up where I lived in New York, I lived in the Finger Lakes region, Geneva, Seneca Falls, Waterloo. It's all all three of those towns. Geneva's right on Seneca Lake, then the next town over east is Waterloo, and then you go farther east a little bit, and there's Seneca Falls. And Seneca Falls is right on Cayuga Lake, and it's all with Seneca Falls to Geneva is only about a 9-mile drive. It's 9 miles. So, just north of Seneca Falls is a town called Romulus, and at the time there was an army depot up there. It was called the Seneca Army Depot, and Dawn's husband was stationed there. And they had a couple of kids, and I remember they would come over to our house and stuff, just basically Dawn and her two kids. Her one kid, Sean, was an absolute monster, and their daughter, Megalai, was very quiet. They were both, I think, in the range of I don't know, maybe Sean couldn't have been any older than 4, and I think Megalai was 2.5. But anyways, Dawn's husband just one day out of the blue decided to buy a Nintendo. We would go over there sometimes, and I wanted to play the Nintendo so bad. And Dawn kind of would exploit that. And I remember the one day I cleaned her bathroom, she let me play the Nintendo. Or one day I went out to her carport and I cleaned the carport. Now one would view that perhaps as child labor. I actually view it as character building, because it taught me if you want something bad enough, you'll work for it. So anyways, the one afternoon she was coming over to our house, and I was like, hey, can you bring the Nintendo? Much to my surprise, she actually brought the Nintendo with her. Funny enough, though, she did not bring the RF, the cable switch. All she brought was the power source, so I had no screen. I was like, oh, damn it. Well, she had left it there, and my dad, luckily enough, was able to kind of like jerry rig something together with like this old TV RF switch. It was fuzzy, but it worked. Now, anyways, my best friend Mike had a plethora of Nintendo games, and I remember going to his house and like he's like, "Hey, you know, whatever you want to borrow," and I remember seeing this, and I was like, Mario Brothers. So this is before Super Mario Brothers. Totally enamored. I was like, wow, this is crazy. I've got to play this. So I borrowed it from him, brought it home that night, plugged it in, and I will be honest, I don't care for this game. I don't. It's not without its charm. I know that it was basically. I know that it was groundbreaking at the time, and I mean it did solidify Mario and Luigi, and I respect it for that. It's just a game that I don't care for, but that was the story that went with this game, and I played it, and I mean, and I did. I played it. I was just kind of like, okay, well, when am I going to get the power-up mushroom? When am I going to get the fire flower? Where's Bowser? Like where is all of this going? And it just, I found out later on that it was the port of the original arcade game. But those are the stories. That was the story that went with this game. So now that I've rambled on for, while the timer is almost at 6.5 minutes, now that I've rambled for 6.5 minutes about the game, let's go ahead and unbox this bad boy. Now this was one that I actually had to piece together. I did not get this all at once. If I recall, I had a retro duo, and there is a store called Obsession Guitars in northern Cambria, Pennsylvania. It's about an hour and a half to 2 hours from me. Hour and a half, I think. And the guy had the cartridge, and I traded the retro duo for the cartridge, and then it was about 3 years later, I got the box, and then a few months later, I got the instruction manual. So that was how I literally, had to piece this thing together. But the box itself is in just pristine, mint condition. It's one of the best boxes in my collection. And I'm glad, because it's, I mean, other than like that tiny little ding right there, other than that, this thing is just immaculate. And I was so glad when I found this. I paid more than I would have liked to. I think the box itself, I paid around $90 just for the box, which I know, probably very stupid of me, but hey, I have disposable income, and that's what I wanted to do with it. So anyways, you'll need lightning-fast reactions to get out of this pipeline adventure alive. Alright, let's go ahead and open this up. And I thought it was inside. So, we've got the instruction manual. The instruction manual, it was the best one I could find on eBay, but it's not in bad shape. I mean, given the fact that a lot of these never survived, I'm just happy to have one. There's the controls. I actually start the game. Very basic game. Play. There's your cast of characters: Mario, Luigi, Turtle, Crab, Fighterfly, Fireball, Freezy, and the coins. It's really cool how a lot of these made, like the turtles wound up becoming, Koopa Troopas, and I think Fireflies made another appearance. Didn't they come back in some form in Super Mario Land? I think. Could be wrong. That's what I love about Good Vibes Collecting, is by and large, all the stuff that he unboxes, he does research on. I'm a little too lazy. I don't feel like doing research. The research I have was what I experienced playing the game. Other than that, the history of it, it's just stuff I do pick up after a bit, finding it out. But it's not anything that I go actively looking for. But kudos to those that do, because I just don't have the patience. Actually, it's not that I don't have the patience. I just don't really care. And the memos. All right. The game. I did forget that it actually did have the plastic baggie with it, so that makes me happy. Like I said, some of these I don't open these games up very often, so you know when I open them up, I'm like, oh shit, the plastic bag's in there. Fantastic. One little ding there on the label. Other than that, it's pretty good shape. Yeah, and in case you're wondering, like the place called Obsession Guitars, which is by and large a guitar store, like how I procured a game there. It's a very interesting place. The guy that runs it he's a bit on the eccentric side, but he's like a millionaire, like 2 or 3 times over. The entire like upstairs of his store. Like one room he has dedicated, it's literally all old video games. Another room is all Matchbox cars. Another one is just all sorts of collectibles, like everywhere. And he goes by the barter system. Like he literally, he sells stuff, but he doesn't buy things. He'll trade, like, and all of it's by trading. It's crazy. I was able to actually, see, and it's a mess, so I try to squeeze through, but an experience nonetheless. So, yeah. Once again, sorry for the ramblings on the game, or the story behind the game, I should say. But hey, like I said, that's why it's called Back in the Day. So I certainly do hope you guys enjoyed this. I'm glad I was able to get this put together for you. Hopefully here in the next 2 weeks, I want to pump out another couple videos. I've got some ideas actually not back in the day. Good Vibes Collecting. You give me an idea for a video that I want to do based off of one of his response to a comment that I made on one of his videos. So that'll be, obviously, that's a video for another day. I don't know when I'll get to that, but I do have the idea in the works of how I want to do it. So anyways, I hope you guys have a great day, and I hope you enjoyed, and take it easy.